We knew there have been Russians in Chernobyl during this war, but we didn't know how many or what they were doing, and we've just been given a briefing by the head of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, who says there were 1,500 troops in there. They've all gone now. If you go to Chernobyl, as we did before the war, you're told don't touch anything, and certainly don't dig anything up. And despite that, the Ukrainians say the Russian commanders made their troops dig up trenches and dig holes to lay landmines, and making matters worse, they were given 70-year-old radiation detecting equipment, so they would have had no idea what kind of risks they were being exposed to. We're also being told that this was one of the main routes into the Kiev region, so Russians sent in their heavy armour and their troops into Kiev, potentially churning up that soil, which the Russian soldiers have been digging trenches through, potentially taking contaminated material into this entire area, which they may have left there. So that may need to be checked for radioactive material. But also, in the last 5 days, the Ukrainians say, their staff in Chernobyl counted 10,000 vehicles that went out through Chernobyl into Belarus. So that was the main route out, it seems, for the Russian retreat. Now that means potentially that soil or that mud that has been dug up and potentially is radioactive has been taken into Belarus and into Russia further afield. So that means there's potentially a radioactive problem the Russians have as well as the Ukrainians. If you go into Chernobyl, in this area here, in the middle of it is where the concrete and metal sarcophagus is that covers the reactor that blew up in 1986. The good news is the Ukrainians say they don't believe it's been compromised. Now the bad news is that in this area there are a number of storage sites where nuclear plants from across the country store their radioactive waste. Now, before the war, on a daily basis, the Ukrainians say they would have checked those sites to make sure they're okay. For 36 days, they've not been able to get in to check them as well. So that's a potential worry they've got in their hands as well. Now, obviously, we're in an information war, and both sides have made a lot of inflated claims. But on the face of it, from what the Ukrainians are saying at least, they have a potentially big problem in Chernobyl, but also in Kyiv. But the Russians do potentially as well, wherever their tanks and their heavy armour has taken that soil into Belarus and into Russia.